over 10,000 damage.
How much is that? Out of 7 matches.
How much of that is them coming out of a hovercraft?
Imagine if we could get a stat for INSILIO specifically, how much time spent in the hovercraft in comparison to all the other teams. It wouldn't even be close, honestly.
Because they have multiple hovercrafts, it's like just multiplied so quickly. Also, but like, yeah, it's a good item.
I'm not gonna knock them, right? Because if you want to be the best team in the world, you got to be able to. You got to be willing to adapt to new metas and to new changes. And they are the first team we've seen to adopt it.
You can't even knock them if you wanted to. Then the hovercraft.
That's true. That's true.
They're just gonna keep. They're just gonna keep
I mean, we
playing
talked
cat and mouse
about
with you.
the first teams using the DBS when that came around, meta changing. That was, I think, Dplus, if I'm not mistaken, way back in the day. And now we're seeing INSILIO do the same. I wonder if we're going to see more and more teams adapt to this. But obviously, that's Erangel only.
Thing is that if they find themselves in a situation like we were able to find in that previous match, and those hovercrafts do end up getting destroyed, you've mentioned it before, Max, it becomes pretty much a compound.
Just a fort built on the go, and it's very strong.
Very strong indeed. And speaking of strong, we're going to head back to our commentators. We're going to drop it in to our second Erangel of the day with John Allen and Blake.
Feeling strong like Hapthor. We are heading in to Erangel, a south plane path for us for our second lap around the grassy pastures from Novo over to the west coast. South leaning, maybe some vehicle kerfuffles in the next few minutes. Blank, we've seen that happen on plane paths like this.
It's a seriously difficult plane path. It's one we actually saw yesterday. I think it's pretty much the exact same plane path we saw then. It was not easy to work around, and teams will have to figure out their rotations going forward. Interesting to see where this next circle actually heads off to. If it'll be a cruel one, heavy up towards that north side, causing teams some panic here inside the lobby. For the time being, Falcons out nice and early, and INSILIO up towards Milta, who are absolutely unbelievably protected by those hovercraft half the time. Having 2 in the back pocket going into many of these locations where, as Max said, it's almost impossible to play some of these spots, but it's made so because they can always just hop inside there, pretty much moving compound.
It's so useful, and as they were saying over on the desk, it's the first team to really adapt to that as part of their core fundamental gameplay. Fantastic stuff coming through to see that one work out for them. I'm looking at the rest of the map. I'm seeing potentially Dplus KIA could be vulnerable to a team spirit, but Dplus KIA going a little bit further. Are we going to see that low and lazy parachute from DRX that got capitalized on by NIGMA Galaxy last match? Potentially some danger with them and the Vicious, but again, teams are being very cautious around these vehicles, and it feels like you can see these nerves mounting as we get in towards the final matches here for the grand finals.
Almost halfway done at this point, John. DRX do get out the plane path without too much trouble, but down towards 6th place now. Our leaders are 2 EME. Without too much trouble, but down towards 6th place now. Our leaders are 2 EMEA teams, NIGMA Galaxy and RCB. With Influence Rage not far behind, honestly, only 2 points.
Every single team has been trying to figure out how to approach this final day. They've all been trying to put their best foot forwards. And at the moment, NIGMA Galaxy, they are at the top of the pack. We caught up with them to find out just how they're coping with the pressure.
Welcome to Championship Sunday. Now, we are already in the mix here in the XL Arena, so we thought that we would just hop on here to give you a quick recap and get you up to speed if you're only just joining us. After day 1, 4MV led the charge with a truly impressive 23 elimination chicken dinner. It really was something, wasn't it, Sandstorm?
It was quite a performance from them on day 1, but day number 2 saw REGNUM CARYA fly to the top of the table with 2 chicken dinners. and managing to get a bit of a distance between them and second place. But Influence Rage, they were the talk of the town. They managed to get a chicken dinner, 2 top 2s, and now, beginning of day 3, again, starting with a chicken dinner. They're coming for that #1 spot, Barney.
Yes, they are. I mean, going from 14th place at the beginning of day 2 and all the way up to 2nd place right now. So keep your eyes peeled, and we'll see you later on Championship Sunday.
Thank you very much, Barney and Sandstorm. The lay of the land there set out for you. Make sure that you are up to date. You can see those scores on the tables on the right-hand side of your screen. In the midst of all of that, Team Spirit lost 2 players, Blank.
Yeah, they were hurt. They were hurting once again. And I think Team Spirit, the spirit is broken at this point in time. Down to 178 points in 10th place. It would realistically take 1 game to get up towards that top side, but I don't really think NIGMA Galaxy or RCB are going to be changing all that much. Dplus are able to find 2 of those eliminations over towards Team Spirit. You were talking about this earlier. Potentially Dplus being in trouble. No, it's completely the way around.
Absolutely. That is far from ideal, let's put it that way, for Team Spirit, and taking a lot of damage, not getting that loot fast. Circle, fairly chill right now. It's a nice central circle, so no massive moves. And after the plane path they had, the teams will be happy about this.
113 points. It's a good run from them. They have been working very hard this year to make sure that their team is ready, because when we first saw them, it seemed disjointed. Slowly over time, they've worked on that. All these players now play hand in hand wonderfully. The boys talk about Twisted Minds, and I think that, you know, you look at Twisted Minds from EMEA, and they are somewhat of a reflection of NIGMA Galaxy. In the sense, you take some very strong players, you put them together, and you hope it goes well, but you invest resources into that. You invest time, you invest coaching. I think Twisted Minds just needed more time. But NIGMA Galaxy, they already had that moment of success where it all started to click. Now, they're up against 4MV.
And 4MV, a team looking to chase them on the tables. Apex tries to draw first blood, but in turn is rebuffed. SnowX with a Molotov, slowing things down, hops out the building on the low ground floor here. The res is coming through, but Apex is being chunked away in the meantime. They haven't managed to get him back up. Reefer steps out the back, and Narvalo's being handled by Doc on the back lines. 4MV looking to try and turn this one around, but unfortunately there's another knock, and SnowX just wades straight on into the fight, sees it going pear-shaped, thinks, no, I think we want the top of the tables to ourselves, thank you very much.
Way.
But Doc clips him on the rear tire, swings through on the buggy, and SnowX on the top floor can't do anything about it. The hop in, and Doc's on the warpath. Around the edge, Ralph has the corner. Doc goes low, but the hop out doesn't find it. Redox down, but NIGMA Galaxy keep it under control. Influence Rage, though, want to change that.
Influence Rage in the wings here. Look to soar on down towards NIGMA Galaxy's position. Narvalo unable to get their boy back up again. Crazy play there, though, coming through from Doc. Speed at which he rocked up towards that location. Ralph barely had time to get out of the vehicle before his leg got twisted at the hand of Doc.
Hitting him with a stanky leg on that approach, but NIGMA Galaxy take one of the top 5 out of the race for this match. Influence Rage didn't have time to third party, seemingly. Oh, hang on a minute. They might still yet have an opportunity until NIGMA Galaxy can get those reses on board, get that healing done.
Yeah, it's highly doubtful. Well, never mind. It was not highly doubtful. Apparently, Influence Rage just let them get Narvalo back up again. So he sits up straight, and NIGMA Galaxy technically now can just play on with 3 players with 4 eliminations. Perfectly possible from a central position. Well, hell of an extraction onto Narvalo, I won't lie. It's good to see, though. They do value the player. I mean, Narvalo, in the past, used to be one of the best players in Europe. He has slightly fallen down that ladder. There was moments where we worried for him. But I'm hopeful for the future of this team now.
I think there were times where he just seemed so disjointed from his team, but this is a NIGMA Galaxy revitalized and cohesive. It's a fantastic sight to see. They will top the tables for now, but we'll have to see if they can hold on to it. ThunderTalk now defending. Top of Potato Hill, east side. 4 players for ThunderTalk. They've already found a knock over towards Icy. The Falcons continue on their fall from grace, but East trying to chime back in towards AJ. They will find that knock. Hui looks for the trade, and action is taken down. Potential third party coming in from INSILIO across the way as well. This, for both of these two teams, is going to be made so much harder. We saw what Westron could do on his own in the last match blank, and we'll see if they can extract more value from this situation.
He's a crazy player on INSILIO. He's had so much success. Donning the flag as a cloak here. The attempts to hit them with the dagger on that northern side. 3TN from INSILIO with the hovercraft. What else, really, end of the day? I will say for Westron, that last game with the Vicious, technically Vicious made the right play. Absolutely. They should have 100% pushed him. But you get 3 shots in a row, dead on target, on moving targets. You just have to take the L on that one, realistically.
Sometimes it's just something special that you're able to bring out, and that's what Westron found. In the meantime, we're going to hop over towards Sunken. DRX are taking on the remaining duo from Team Spirit. A knock over towards Hyunbin slows them down. They are not fully grouped up right now. Oh, no, wait. No, that's RCB across the river with a 2-2 split from Rozhok and the Bridge compound. DRX playing as 3 in this location. Got an outpost, but trying to regroup, play a little bit closer together. So as moves back on in, and they slow their approach. They don't want to go for this fight against Team Spirit.
For RCB, it's a good chance for them to start the game here. I mean, Vicious do hold that north side of Rozhok, the hilltops, but RCB have way more space to play around with. It is a somewhat dangerous split, but again, it's what they're trying to do most of these games is keep their split just close enough so regroups are possible. But the amount of information they'll be able to pick up from the back of this is phenomenal. Na'Vi scouting the top side, but INSILIO rocking through in the hovercraft. You cannot slow them down. They just roll on past, and what are you meant to do? All you can do is really watch. There's not much counterplay to it.
Bring your own hovercraft.
Yeah, but still not counterplay. Now you're just rotating together.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's such a difficult force to be reckoned with. The Na'Vi are going to push them off, however, but I think that's more INSILIO's choice than Na'Vi's, because this circle, okay, the next pop as well, goes over to the river, the central island there found. Na'Vi can't quite catch INSILIO as their tail turns, but they'll have to mount up and get on the path behind them. However, pushing in towards the center of this circle, there's a lot of open ground blank.
Very reminiscent of the way Miran Sejong played actually for RCB here, immediately regrouping on top of Sara. It's a good spot to play as well. A lot of sight lines and a lot of capability to hold teams out. They'll even have an outpost that sits down towards the bankside. This is good for RCB on this circle. And I imagine it will center up around there anyway. NIGMA Galaxy heading down over towards VOIN Donkey, who have just managed to grab themselves a position on the sidelines of Sunken. DRX, I hope they brought their scuba dive gear, because they're going to have to sit around here for quite some time in the water.
Tell you what, Team Spirit with their duo have had some decent shifts on this one and may be able to pull a couple of points out of this game, but I'm still not holding my breath. VOIN Donkey ID spotted on the cross in towards Sunken. Zeta clipped, but Vexy will get the res here. DRX want to isolate this, surround it. You can see Kaisei now moving up into the high ground off angle. NIGMA Galaxy have made their entry with all 3 of their players now safely in that southwest side. Slap bang center in Sunken City.
Yeah, a lot of teams want to get involved, and this can hold a fair few squads at the end of the day. No one really wants to make too much noise here. A couple of shots going through, but that's about it. Na'Vi attempting to move over towards INSILIO already. There's a good start, a good chunk of damage. 6 is down, and Na'Vi stuck inside this building. Another lovely nade. Bounces down the stairs. There is a response, but is it enough?
Another nade for Westron. He's on a rampage again. Potential to find Flip here, but a nade goes a little bit awry. Does tag him for the damage. The Molotov to push him off the door frame,
so nice.
But he goes down the stairs. Brilliant rotate from Westron to pick up that Molotov, play in the terrain. Low HP again, dips back, but Redlick can take up the mantle. Dplus KIA moving around in the distance could make this a little bit messy, but another nade bobbles over to the backlines, and Lemon is going to get pushed away from this. Puncher flushed away, and the points start to rack up for INSILIO.
Westron today has been playing like a man possessed. It has been insane what we've been watching from him. Nade after nade into a Molotov, so perfectly placed, and now Lemon's getting squeezed.
Ooh, there's still a little bit more juice left in it, hopefully. Redlick underarms the nade on the lower balcony, the drop down, but just in time, secures the door frame. The hop over, and he steps in. It's all chaos. The step out from Lemon on a 1-2 swivel. We thought Westron had it all, but no. Lemon turns their situation sour.
A bitter denial to INSILIO. Lemon turns it up to 11. At his 11th hour. Insane plays. I mean, we know Lemon's a strong player, and I just do not think INSILIO were expecting that. And that's going to hurt their points this game, as they were onto a very strong position down towards the southeast side in terms of holding and getting a little bit too over-aggressive, potentially overconfidence getting in the way there for them. Still 5 eliminations on the game. It's not terrible, but it won't see you up into the triple digits just yet.
That is so unfortunate. They should have been 3 in this position, but just that little clumsy step in, step out. Lemon with the pump action, with a miraculous pull. I mean, to be fair, it swings and roundabouts from the last match where Westron did the same to the Vicious, right? And with INSILIO going down, you're right, that point scoring potential severely denied there. They're up to 98 points blank, so they are still within striking distance as Lemon does finally get taken down. And that is Na'Vi out of this match. Influence Rage the ones to do so, but it's so close at the top that just being able to get that 1 extra point, move closer towards these next circles, could have been all it took for INSILIO to be up towards the top 3.
Some good long-range shots so far from Norris, and we've been watching from Influence Rage. And they're currently holding down towards that south side. They have a lot of space that they've conquered already. Dplus trying to go for something similar, holding a 2-2 split. Off over towards that eastern side. They got 2 players on the south of Rozhok, but RCB still in this strong position, and there's no contenders in their area. Same cannot be said for Sunken, though. That place is full to the brim.
There is plenty of players looking to try and make their way on in there. Alpha 7 have managed to make the first strike towards the positions under the bridge. Guild looking to defend it, but with Magrellan out of action, Revo has to step into the breach and will do so with gusto. GG, not GG, flushed under the bridge there. Aza, the laser, trying to get across as well, but I think Alpha 7 have his number.
Yeah, he's in a tough spot. I think Revo knows his location as well. For Alpha 7 playing out on the water towards that middle island. Good shots again, creating a splash in the water, and will find the knock. Now it's just about cleaning up. And Alpha 7 will take 2 on the game and find themselves on a lonely island over towards this northwest side, but they can certainly play this one out here, John.
It's very isolated, you're right, in this situation. You could see the other side of the island was held by the other side of the 2-2 split from Guild, but RCB had angles on it. They took one of those players on that south edge away. These rocks are anything but secure. To be fair to Guild, they couldn't really play it as much as they would have liked because of Alpha 7's crossing, but even so, getting up to that ridge line keeps you safe for a moment, but not much longer.
VOIN Donkey, not a bad spot, but we'll see where this next circle goes, because if it heads over towards that west side, both NIGMA Galaxy as well as VOIN Donkey ID will be pretty happy with their position. It will be DRX forced to push them, but nope, up towards RCB. And it looks like we're heading over towards our Turkish squad to reclaim their top spot.
Seeing the rotate out from Team Spirit as well towards that shack on the roadside. Trying to hunker down there. And to be fair, I think they've got legs on that position, Blank. They've got a little bit of runway to play with. because of all the teams who have grouped themselves up in Sunken, moving out of there is got to be really tough. With RCB and now with Team Spirit on the outside looking their way, NIGMA Galaxy on the south point, moving away is going to be difficult. The good news for them for now is that they don't have to just yet.
They can sit pretty for the time being, heading into stage 6. The cool thing here for RCB is that practically that southwest side will just handle itself. Good rage though, Lorazin will handle one onto Dplus. Good response though, more damage pouring on through, coming through from Wholesale. We'll just send away, still has 4 players here on Dplus, 1 player down though, and more shots coming through, but TJB enters the mix.
They're trying to roll over from the sidelines here, the west edge. NIGMA Galaxy are flexing out for it as well, but Influence Rage are suffering the most right now. Dplus KIA have 2 knocks, they're grouped up, the blue zone pushes. They can't go back out to get these 2 players back up. Dplus KIA almost certainly playing on with 2, and Flower wants to take these points for TJB. 5 elims found now. And the south edge rotate has gone well. NIGMA Galaxy, they are really keen for this third-party blank. Narvalo is still a little bit on the chase here, but not quite able to get past the finish line. Osal finds Triple-S rolling up. Chips is there as well. A crossfire established, but it's not going to matter. Longs has this back, and Triple-S can keep on rolling. Over towards Osal. Dplus KIA fall.
Second Erangel in a row where TJB stands it up here. Looking mighty strong, nade through over towards Thunder Talk, and they do find themselves hit by a lightning strike sent by Falcons.
Swooping down, taking those points away. Only the 2 points on this match, and only the 2 players as well, though. And in 14th place, I think their time is up, even with a miracle run here. They are over 50 points behind on the standings, and teams are starting to get counted out at this stage. Teams like Na'Vi, like Thunder Talk, like Falcons and Guild, it's so tough to make that run from the bottom of the tables.
We're 3rd down to 6th out on this game, though there is a chance for those teams underneath. As you can see on the leaderboards, we've still got 7 through 12th in the game. So DRX, Tongji Bao, VOIN Donkey ID, potentially Team Spirit. This might be a good moment to regain some of that lost ground over the past day. Alpha 7 finding Vicious though, raises down. And again, I was going to talk about this earlier, but it's so difficult for Falcons, Vicious to move through that ground on that north side. So open to a lot of squads. RCB gets a miracle shift. They might be on the edge of this one, but it completely cuts out Sunken. And that is the big marker of this circle.
Be a hefty price to pay to exit Sunken here. NIGMA Galaxy on the south side, getting 5 elims now, actually. They got 4 on their earlier scrap. They posted up another, losing a player, but now they're on the south edge. With TJB just a little bit ahead of them, it looks like Narvalo is calling the team to regroup. Ralph agrees, and they all move in concert now to the east side, and actually potentially clashing with TJB on the east side as Alpha 7 try and cross. It's Wagner to shut them down very, very quickly. Alpha 7 get dispatched, and VOIN Donkey ID want a couple of those points, but TJB now have NIGMA Galaxy bearing down upon them, and they will not be able to weather the storm. NIGMA Galaxy can get Narvalo back up and play on from there. 7 elims found, and RCB see them stretching out into the distance ahead of them.
RCB, they've got a strong spot, but only 2 elims off the back of this. But NIGMA Galaxy, they've been making it work. They exited early, they controlled that south side, and there is more space to play. It's likely that a lot of these teams over towards that western side are going to struggle making their way out from Sunken, but now they've been dropped down just 2. DRX, VOIN Donkey ID must face off against one another. Though, NIGMA Galaxy taking a knock here, but there's a chance for DRX to send out. But even so, in the heat of the moment, Narvalo clapping back over towards them.
Finding QXZ with a headshot out to the west side. Falcons on the east, on the edges of Rozhok. The peripheral hills, a modicum of cover able to be supplied to them by it. And the spray down from KaiXe, but they're just not quite finding these full flushes. VOIN Donkey ID, they've appeared a lot in the elimination feed. Only 3 times have they been able to rack up points for it, but they have been knocked repeatedly blank. This team has been through the wars, And they are looking to keep that record going. Potato just about staying alive as they try and fend off DRX from Sunken City on their route out. NIGMA Galaxy making that break up north as well.
RCB has been so happy with this position, but NIGMA Galaxy is not playing around here. Bursting out into this match from the dark void of the Galaxy. Now looking to take teams with them.
DRX on the push, Potato goes down. But the drop shots there, Vexy on the floor, brings DRX with him. And now it's just one player on the backline. Soaz steps into the smoke, but the strafe not strong enough. And VOIN Donkey ID will be able to survive, but for how much longer? Because they're eating lead from NIGMA Galaxy across the way. Razor and Vexy trying to survive as RCB starting to get a little bit antsy now.
RCB, no, they need more points in this game. NIGMA Galaxy, it looked like RCB on this match might have been able to regain a position towards that top side, but not with NIGMA Galaxy absolutely dominating during this match, stealing away eliminations at the same time. Vexy goes down to Narvalo, hitting their tally up to 10, and NIGMA Galaxy will not be stopped.
Up to 11. NIGMA Galaxy with 3 players on the match after their first team fight. Making waves here. 2 games on the trot. They are muscling their way to the top of the tables. RCB, you're right. They've only got 2 eliminations from here. They haven't had to make this work. Team Spirit alive as well, by the way, still with their duo. And is it finally the end for NIGMA Galaxy? A wide rotate, and this feels chaotic, Blank. Not too sure about the effectiveness of this maneuver on average, but Narvalo, the only one to survive it. And he's not even in the zone.
Gets out. NIGMA Galaxy down to 1 now, but 11 points on the game, a top 5. This has been a brilliant result from them. Plays this match solar systematic. But this looks like it will be their final ride on the southeast side.
Still, though, a 5th place with 11 elims. Blank, it's pretty bloody good, I think it's safe to say. They'll be very happy with that one. Narvalo still just eking out whatever he can, but it is going to be there, done and dusted for NIGMA Galaxy. A massive tally for RCB to chase now as they look for the rollout. Silas is rebuffed. The Vicious trying to keep this one together, but in they go with the send out wide. RCB leaves Silas behind, but pick up the position on the north edge. The Falcons are falling to it, and Team Spirit is still here as well, by the way, in their building, in their little shack, with 2 players. It's not fully out of the question.
Actually, the fact that Team Spirit is still in this one is pretty phenomenal. Now they make the send out, they're looking to take on the Falcons. Shots from the side of the vehicle, it's looking like a drive-by.
Over the top, nade cooking, healing on East as well, works out. Can RCB find anything? The first knock goes the way of a Team Spirit on the duo rollout. Top around the side, looking to try and get anything done. And 1 he's good for. Shotgun, 2 rounds left. Finds the first, looks for the second, and he's out of ammo. He's out of life. It's RCB to flex out, looking for that first place chicken dinner, but it's all up to Effect.
Effect has to double back. I said it was a drive-by, more like a drive-through over towards Falcons. And the unshakable Spirit is here in process. Effect looks for another. The damage is good over towards Sarah, but the nade might just do the trick. And RCB will take themselves a chicken dinner. But with the points that NIGMA Galaxy got this match, it might not be enough.
NIGMA Galaxy might have pulled off the limbs, but at least REGNUM CARYA closing out the chicken dinner. We'll check out the overalls to see where it currently stands here between these 2 top teams. But for now, we have to break down their victory and break down how they pulled this one off. And Max and Seven Worlds Gaming, I mean, REGNUM CARYA were sitting in that lovely compound for the longest of times until it was their moment to strike.
Yeah, they just held onto their resources for pretty much the entire game here, Seven, and just, okay, now it seems like the action's starting to pick up a little bit, especially around Sunken City or Atlantis or Water City. There's a lot of names.
Watertown.
Compound. Watertown, that one works.
I like that one.
Well, you were saying Atlantis earlier. But there was so much action happening in that city, and RCB we're going to let that fight unfold naturally. And once all the teams are weakened, there's just going to be a few stragglers remaining. That's when we push, clear the southern western side, and then we have free reign to push Vicious, then Falcons, then Team Spirit, do whatever we truly want in this finishing moment.
Silas being able to get those 4 eliminations, something that we do need to highlight as you were able to talk about RCB. I mean, you mentioned it too, Jason, they really didn't have to rotate. They were just sitting down for a very long time. For this team, I feel like we're gonna move to NIGMA Galaxy because wow, what a performance that we just had at NIGMA Galaxy. The way that they were able to just make their decision. I gotta go back even a little bit further. Whenever they were really close to Watertown, they decided, you know what, we're not gonna go through that mayhem. We don't want to end up fighting with VOIN. We don't want to end up fighting with DRX. They decided to back off, and something that I really enjoyed that NIGMA Galaxy was able to do, as we're looking at the stats here from RCB, was Narvalo. They send them just a little bit further away from him to be able to scout on TJB. Once you realize where TJB was at, then the whole team was able to send it there, and it was an easy fight for them.
Yeah, Narvalo was such a proactive scout, and not only scout, but also a very important part actually of these pushes onto TJB. And then they pushed TJB into, I think it was Influence Rage. It was also then the side of Dplus KIA. Pushed them all away, then they go back to the city in a pretty relatively safe position. But later on down the line, right, TJB have this mountaintop southwest of Rozhok, which is a good little scouting ground to go for. And NIGMA Galaxy, we talked about the fight happening in Sunken City, Water City, Atlantis.
Watertown.
Okay, Watertown. They're trying to avoid that as much as possible. Watertown. They're trying to avoid that as much as possible. And just, we already saw that TJB escaped southeast of the point for TJB.
And for TJB, if they wouldn't have had just such a struggle in the first match with Sanhok, when they ended up going against the Vicious, they ended up getting eliminated early. We could have had 3 matches out of this team, great consistent matches, but that's not the case right now. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the overall is looking, because we have seen NIGMA Galaxy now being able to put up some good performances back-to-back.
RCB.
So यहाँ बिल्कुल ठीक है, आपने इस मैच का विनर चिकन डिनर
able to win this one narrows that gap. It doesn't let NIGMA Galaxy just keep creating an even bigger point gap.
Yeah, you see here RCB able to get themselves 4 more points than NIGMA Galaxy, and we'll check in with how close things are between our first and second place team momentarily. But Falcons 10 points. We got to see some great things of them as well. Only performing with 2 players towards the very end, losing out in that last 1v1 up against Team Spirit. But you know, Falcons, if they could have started off the event putting up numbers like this, we could have been talking about them as being the team to take the trophy back to Mongolia.
They did. They started off hot. Whenever we started off the first day with the Sanhok, we're like, okay, maybe we're getting the Falcons from Last Chance. Final day? No, that was not the case.
It was one match. It was just like 4-V. It was one match.
Yeah.
Speaking of 4-V, 1 point. I mean, this is 4-V. We keep talking, you know, negatively about them, but they're still